Hello there! I'm Squire Kalahan Ridgeborn, almost a Battlemaster, always a wizard, and tonight I am joined by Sir Moss of the Valley, a Paragon Paladin, a Knight of Battle from Nine Blades. Moss, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
I'm really excited to talk Paladin with you and get the meta and the vibe of how Paladin is out there in Nine Blades. I've never been to Nine Blades, so I think that'll be really cool. Before we get super deep into it, can you tell me where Nine Blades is in the country?
So, Nine Blades is not in the United States. Nine Blades is in Canada. We are primarily Ontario. We may have a satellite field popping up in Quebec soon-ish. Depends on what kingdom they're actually closest to. Uh, but we are all of the Ontario Amped Guard parks.
Wow, I didn't realize we had anybody outside of the US. That's so cool.
Yeah, we have all of Ontario has the Nine Blades, and then there are, I believe, Viridian Outlands has parks in Canada as well.
Oh, okay. That's very cool. So how did you get started in Amtgard?
So I got started in Amp an Amp Guarder was teaching a leatherworking class to a school group that I happened to be a student in back in high school. And me and a couple of my buddies were like, so we learned how to do leatherwork. This guy hits people with swords on the weekends. We kind of want to try that.
Mhm.
So, as a 17-year-old with my buddies, we went out to Whitestone Valley, which unfortunately is no longer a park since everybody moved away for university
Oh
uh,
no.
13 years ago. 13, 14 years ago.
Okay. And where do you play now?
Currently, I play in Lichwood Grove, which is located in Waterloo, Ontario.
Okay. Cool. So what is the main job of a paladin on the battlefield?
Paladin is a unique martial class because it can slot into a couple roles very well, depending on what sort of teammates there are to support them. They function without any support, ideally as a magic and crowd control resistant tank. They fill that job very well alongside anti paladins who are also fairly magic resistant. On the front lines with the heals and resurrects with their default kit to support their team and the extend immunities to help make the rest of their team a little magic resistant as well.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When you are playing paladin, what is your favorite kind of battle game?
Favorite kind of battle game? Up here, we do a lot of objective games. I prefer games that have a centralized objective or something that needs to be defended. Siege games tend to be one of my favorites.
Okay, I can see that. So, why did you start playing paladin?
Initially, when I first started Amp I was like, well, I'm looking at all these classes, and Paladin seems really cool, but I can't play that at all. I'm not a knight yet. I'm a fresh-faced newbie who's using a PVC quarterstaff.
Mhm.
So I picked up Scout initially and got Paragon in that because it was the closest kind of equipment and ability-wise to Paladin back in V7.
Okay.
Uh, Still somewhat similar in V8. So Paladin was kind of always the I want to do this. Scout was the I can do kind of this. And then once Paladin opened up for non knights, I started playing that. I started leveling that and have been playing it fairly consistently since.
Yeah. Okay. I kind of think that we should just remove the prestige entirely from paladin and anti-paladin, just make it a day one walk-up class. It
I do agree. I understand why it was the you must be level 6 in a class to kind of get that change through, let other people play it, removing the prestige, removing the level 6 and something else requirement is well overdue at this point.
I'd agree with that. What makes paladin unique amongst the tankier classes? Why does it stand out?
Amongst the tankier classes, which I'm going to kind of lump together, you have your paladin, anti-paladin, warrior are the tankiest just for armor, and then barbarian is also a very tanky class due to its armor, shields, and some of the spell immunities. Paladin is unique, and it's the only tank class that has heals and support for somebody else.
Mm,
Barbarians, adrenaline is self only. Same with warrior scavenge. The sustain and abilities of the other tanks are all personal sustain, personal resistances. Paladin is the only one that can directly buff and help their class or their other classes on the field on their team without, just going, I'm going to bodyguard for this healer while they heal you. No, I'm just going to stand in front of you, free hand in my
mm.
shield, and I'm going to heal you. If you're dead, I'm just going to res you. I'm not going to wait for the healer. I don't have to as a paladin.
Okay. Yeah. So I'd like to now, we're going to roll through all of the abilities of Paladin, and I'd like to get your thoughts on all of them. So starting at level 1, you get immune to command and immune to death. How important are those immunities for a Paladin?
For a paladin, they are absolutely critical to staying on the front line. Uh, of all the crowd control spells, the only one that can force you away from where you are that isn't command or death is shove and throw if the wizards are deciding to take throw that day and make everyone do cardio. So command and death are absolutely critical for staying on the front line and also critical for evading some very common kill and disabling spells, such as dimensional rift paired with a hold person, wounding ravage, or just straight finger of death. It
Mhm.
limits the number of kill combos and instant kill spells to two.
Okay. Yeah, I
Also,
mean,
immunity to poison is incredibly helpful for a tank because every assassin, anti-paladin, and druid on the field is going to be trying to make wounds kill fighters.
yes, I 100% agree with that assessment. So at level 2, you get greater heal once per life recharge times 3. How are you making the best use out of that?
Greater heal at charge times 3, it's aside from healer, the best heal frequency that anyone really gets for any class. If Druid wants it chargeable, it's charge 5. Scout gets normal heal at no charge, it's just per life. Monk gets it at a similar rate, but it's only a normal heal. Though extraordinary, there is a pro and con. A normal heal can heal through pro mag if it's extraordinary. Greater heal, even though it can heal through cursed, isn't healing through pro mag. So it's tied for one of the best non-healer heal spells and very critical both for yourself as a tank to be able to heal yourself, especially if you choose to use a polearm or a small strap shield. You don't even have to really stop fighting while you're healing.
And so, how often are you using that greater heal on yourself versus others?
It really depends on the day and the weather. If it's a battle game where there's me as a paladin and the other team has a level 6 healer and we're kind of balanced against each other for I have heal and res, they have heal and res, and everybody else's classes without, well, I'm going to be casting that pretty much constantly. It's very much a vocal workout day. If I have a team that has plenty of heal access, either through healers, monks, druids, I'm probably only going to use it on myself in a pinch.
Mm.
If I can get somebody else to come up behind me and I can keep fighting, I can keep using my other abilities. That is more beneficial because I don't have to be charging it. I use it on myself if I really have to. Also, being heavily armored, I'm not really worried about taking a second wound if I do take one. I'm just going to knee shuffle back or walk back to my healer. I'm much more likely to use it on other players who are out of position. So a healer or a lightly armored druid or monk can't reach them safely. whereas I, with a bunch of armor and Oz, can. Or if somebody is cursed and they need a heal right now, and they don't have time to wait for a bard or a healer to greater release them, I'm just going to heal them because I can charge 3 it back, or the bard can give me confidence. It's very accessible.
Okay. Now, extend immunities. I think extended immunities is cool. I like getting extended immunities. How are you guys using it up there?
It is one of those abilities that unfortunately I don't see used too frequently up here. Um, Part of it is just local metas. I'm pretty much one of 2 paladins on my local field. On a larger kingdom level, there are other paladins, but a lot of time they will gravitate to the guardian archetype for that really, really
Hmm.
nice imbued shield, which unfortunately they lose extend immunities to get. So I will use it if I'm not playing guardian pretty much every single, like, I'm picking somebody, I'm deputizing you as a mini paladin, you're getting whatever is going to be most beneficial between command and death, and we are going to go and smite the wicked.
Nice. Okay. Greater resurrect once per life at level 4. This is the like weirdest place for a res to be, like in the front elm armor.
It is the weirdest place. It's also the best place for a res to be because
Hmm.
on the front in armor, ignoring cursed, ignore like not removing enchantments on a dead player,
Hmm.
it is an incredibly powerful resurrect, and I have used it to absurd effectiveness, especially at our kingdom level events, where myself and Sir Simdri as a assassin were the front line on narrow trails, fighting our way towards massive constructed bases. And oh, hey, I've got a ton of armor. Somebody's dead. Our wizard buddy behind us is dead. That's fine. I don't care. I've got my sword. I've got one hand behind me. I'm casting that greater res so the evoker wizard can pop back up and keep blowing things up. My sword knight companion to my left is now back up, ready to go with his poison act. It is the best resurrect in the game by far, and especially if you have bards around, paladin can easily be the best resurrection class in the game. Simply because ignoring cursed is extremely powerful when assassins or wizards or other classes that can curse are plentiful, and keeping enchantments active is critical. Uh, at the last Kingdom event, over a 3 hour ish battle game, it's like the mainstay of Battle of the Dens. I had I respawned 6 times. I
Hmm.
cast Greater Resurrect over 40 times
Wow.
just because of how useful it is, how critical it is to have the Resurrect there and available on the front line where it's really needed the most.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Who is your favorite? Like, what class is your favorite target to get those resurrects?
It really depends on who else is out there. Oddly enough, warrior is not my favorite class to get resurrect on, simply because if a warrior dies, they've either died to magic, and all of their stuff is there, in which case, absolutely, I'll pop them back up with a greater res, or they've just been mobbed to death in melee, and their armor's probably shredded. They've probably got their shield fireballed by this point. It's not really worth it for me to resurrect them in a much weakened state compared to them taking a death count or letting somebody else resurrect them once the fighting's moved past, where they can then spam mends or greater mends or word of mendings to get them back up to full capacity and onto the field as the big tanky threat they should be. My favorite to get the resurrects off on are generally the barbarians and the anti-paladins, the ones with big danger sticks who I can just go, you've nicely snowballed and killed 2 or 3 people, breaking up the line. Me and somebody else have pushed in and capitalized on that, I'm going to bring you right back and we're going to keep that snowball rolling.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Awe once per life.
Once per life is not the greatest. Having it twice per life with look the part suddenly becomes exceptionally good in the right circumstances.
Okay.
It really allows you to pick your battles. I'm not sure what the like state of battle games in general are in the south and in the north of the US. But in the Nine Blades, it's very much this is a skirmish going on. If you're fighting in a 1v1, you're probably way out on a flank as an assassin or a monk or a scout, looking for a way to get in and break up a line.
Mm,
Otherwise, it's a little cluster of 3 to 5 players acting as a unit, fighting as a unit. So being able to push away key players in another cluster, or if I'm really bold and confident in being able to outstick a group, I
mhm,
can use it to disrupt. So I'm not fighting a 3v1, I'm fighting a 1v1
mm.
and then a 2v1 once I've killed whatever the biggest threat is alone.
Okay. So it allows you to
Uh,
force the fight that you want and not the fight that you're not ready for yet.
it allows me to force the fight that I want in a way that I can take efficiently. There are many times where I can see, all right, I have an assassin, which I don't have to worry about their poison or their coup de
Mhm.
grace. They only have sticks against me. There's assassin, a monk, and a druid, and I want to push through this little group so I can start pushing one edge of the objective. I'm going to all away the druid and the assassin so I can kill the monk or force them into sanctuary, and then I
Mm,
can deal with the druid and assassin on my terms instead of having to deal with a breaking crushing polearm, an assassin, and then all the magic of the druid coming at me at the same time. I can eliminate one variable and take a much more comfortable fight.
okay. Yeah.
On the flip
So,
side, it also allows for just pushing, like, if I'm defending the objective, just delay, push away the fights I don't want yet while my team comes up, casts their mends, releases frozen players, gets back organized before the next wave of opponents comes in.
okay. Yeah, that makes yeah. Paladin really does fill a very good like space taking up class then.
Ideally, paladins should always be taking up a 15 to 20 foot bubble around themselves where
Mhm.
opponents shouldn't feel like they're comfortable just sitting there. They should either be threatened with melee skills, either with a long enough polearm that I can poke at them, or the fact that I am, even in armor, still fairly quick. I can close distance and fight quickly, or always that risk of all of a sudden I awe away 2 good fighters on the other side. My team swarms in and overwhelms, and we just keep going. It should always be a little bubble that people aren't comfortable aggressing into without overwhelming numbers.
Okay. Let's talk about protection from magic now, because I feel like that would really help with what we were just saying that we want to be doing as a paladin.
Protection from magic is a very interesting one for Paladin because it's not just a self enchantment. You can hand it out to others. Uh, I tend to like using it in a similar way as I use a Scout's adaptive protection.
Mm,
That is, I'm not going to cast it right away at the start of a life. I'm going to go in, I'm going to walk up. I've got no enchantments declared, no enchantments as the fight starts. And when I see my moment where I can really push and make an opening for my team, or somebody else has that option, I did this with Sir Simdry as well at a previous Kingdom event. We're moving up on a large group of opponents defending a capture point. They probably outnumber us 2 to 1. So we've
Okay.
got maybe two other good fighters with us. They've got about 8 people in a fairly difficult to contest area, along with a battle mage. The battle mage
Ooh.
predictably dispels the warlord. So I cast Promag and we push. All of a sudden, the battle mage that's expecting a non-enchanted assassin that's easy to just icy blast, shatter, move on to the next,
Mm-hmm.
has protection from magic that they assumed was dispelled but wasn't present when the dispel was went off. It was applied
Mm.
after. So now all of a sudden the battle mage is like, I'll icy blast, shatter the warlord. They die because the warlord's pro-magged. We push in, we sweep the 8 players, capture the point. Using it when it's not expected or not really people aren't really aware that it's just been cast is where it really shines, because it allows you to push when people aren't ready to dispel. If I walk
Yeah.
up and go protection for magic, the first thing I'm hearing on any field with a wizard is extension moss, by my power dispel that magic. It's the first thing I'll hear, because
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to deal with a pro-magged paladin. They don't want to deal with a pro-mag anything because it ruins a caster's day.
Right.
But if we walk up, no enchantments, we're ready to push, I quickly cast pro-mag and we immediately push,
Mm-hmm.
they don't really have the space and the time to register, okay, an enchantment was cast. I need to go into dispel that enchantment
Mm-hmm.
quickly or we're going to get overrun. They're just immediately being overrun.
Well, and a lot of wizards aren't packing more than one dispel because it's rechargeable. So
Because
if
it's rechargeable, there's not much reason to buy multiple unless it's a like they know there's a summoner druid or a warder healer on the other
Mhm.
side that's going to be spamming out enchantments.
Yeah. Well, and then if I hit you with the dispel and immediately start recharging it, you can enchant them faster than I can recharge and then dispel again. By that time, you're getting overrun.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. The only way to really stop that from just working and getting through is having a druid that's just, I am looking for all the enchantments with my naturalized magic. Nobody gets magic but my team.
Hmm.
And then they get really sad because a wizard or a scout dispelled them and took away their 5 swift dispels.
Yeah, yeah, that'll get them. Okay. So let's see. Which of those class abilities do you find to be the most useful?
Really, the most consistently useful, and I think this goes for any class that has them, is the immunities.
Mm,
Always on. You don't have to remember they're there. It just immediately, once a player with immunities that can't be dispelled enters the combat equation,
hmm.
every caster kind of has to start doing a little bit of extra mental math of who they can cast what on.
Hmm.
Even just, I've recently, because we've had a bit of a heat wave up here, picked up Monk because it's less armor. Just having the blanket immunity to verbals is a good thing, because they'll target me, they'll start casting, they always wait, that's a gray sash, stop, and have to pick a new target. And it just disrupts their flow.
Hmm.
And being able to disrupt the flow of a caster really goes a long way to pushing through. Also, being
Absolutely.
unable to be suppressed means I can't be stopped from resurrecting or healing somebody. You're not just throwing a quick break con, haha, no resurrect for you today.
Hmm. The extend immunities command is something that I always am like, "Ooh, please, yes, give me this paladin."
It's it's hilarious to just give those to the wizards and the healers, especially the wizards, and just watch the little break con battle go off. Haha, immune, whatever kill combo they like that day.
Yeah, it's crisp. Diamonds might be a girl's best friend, but paladin might be wizard's best friend. It's everything you're looking for in a battle buddy. So,
It's really everything you're looking for in having a bodyguard. go with you.
Hmm. Absolutely. What part of Paladin do you find most challenging to play?
There are certain parts of Paladin that are a little more difficult for me to play. It slots in very well with just my general battle game mentality.
Mhm.
S- The hardest really for me to play is often the I sit back and defend. I want to go, especially early on in a battle game. I want to go. I want to push. I want to apply pressure to the other team. I want to see what I can get away with. I want
Mhm.
to see what kind of shenanigans they'll let me get away with for free before I settle into, okay, I know they're going to let me get way too close to their spawn and just be a constant nuisance. I'm going to pull that back for a bit because I want this battle game to still be fun. But I know if my team starts losing, they're going to let me get away with getting way too close to their spawn and constantly threatening their team as they're coming alive.
Okay.
So easing off the gas and slotting into a purely defensive role is difficult,
Hmm.
especially since I'm not sure how other places balance games. I know occasionally up here we'll do schoolyard pick and everyone gets sad because one team ends up really stacked and the other team doesn't. The other team captain doesn't realize who all the key players are because they're new. Or we'll have the champion or game runner like specifically balance the teams, and with armor and a pretty decent stick skill, I'm almost always balanced as Moss is going to be frontline. He's going to be up there fighting. Occasionally, annoyingly, even if I play, I'm being really like chill that day. I'm going to play
Hmm.
a no weapon caster just to take it easy. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to throw Moss in there. He's got stick, right? No, I'm not carrying
Where are my
weapons.
sticks?
Don't balance me as the frontline, please.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Can you share a fun story of something you have done while playing Paladin?
Fun story of something I've done while playing Paladin. At one of the first Kingdom events I played Paladin at a at full level 6, I had finally leveled up.
Hmm.
Uh, it is again Battle of the Dens. It's our major event here in Ontario. We are pushing down one of the main trails because the whole event takes place in a forest with a bunch of crisscrossing trails and assassin trails with at that point, one of them was in disrepair, so it wasn't being used. Two constructed forts, and it's a large game of capture the flag. So I'm pushing up on one of the forts, and a the other team has a large strike group rolling down towards me. Our teams for this range between like 40 and 80 players on a team.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's a fairly large group, but the two people at the front of the line are big, heavy armor boys with shields and no command immunities.
Oh,
So I
no.
awe, and I just walk forward. So I'm using them because they have to move away from me, functionally as a bulldozer, pushing their team off onto the like.
Yeah.
It is not thin underbrush. Like it is thick, new growth pine forest in a lot of spots. So they're
Oh,
getting all tangled up in these like young 6 foot spruce trees. And I'm just walking up. I'm pushing their warriors back with awe, bop, 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 as they're
yeah.
trying to get themselves untangled from the trees that they've kind of like dove into to avoid their whole team just being pushed back up the path. Because if the casters move and they can't get up to the warriors, they're not casting an ambulant release if I just keep pushing them.
Yeah. No, that would work. I love it. Okay. We're gonna take a quick ad break here, and we're gonna have a short word from our sponsor. Hello again, and welcome to the ad. Today's video is sponsored by me, Paragon Wizard Kalahan Richborn, the proprietor of the Almost Battlemaster Kalahan YouTube channel, and I'm here today to talk to you because I need your help. When I started this YouTube channel, my goal was to try to get as many Paragons as possible to come in and reveal to us all their secrets so that we can steal their tech and know how to do battle gaming better together. And through my time running the channel, I have started to run out of Paragons that I know and I've been able to get in touch with. So this is where you come in. I've created the Paragon interview recommendation form. There's a spot here to tell me if you're a Paragon interested in coming on the show, and if you're not a Paragon yet, then there's a spot to tell me about local Paragons in your area that you'd like to see on the show. The link to the form is going to be down in the description, and if you click on it, it's going to look just like this, and you're going to be able to go in and recommend Paragons that you think should be on the show. And once they're in there, I will look into contacting them and seeing if they're willing to come on and talk to me. So please recommend people that you know that would be great guests. Thank you, and let's get you back to the main video. Welcome back from the ad break. We're now going to be talking about the Paladin archetypes. So Moss, which of the three archetypes are your favorite? Generalist, Guardian, or Inquisitor?
Guardian is easily a favorite, partially because of the local meta. I really do like the Generalist. It's what I've played the most of, simply because archetypes are fairly recent. But Imbue Shield is such a no-brainer trade-off for Pro Mag, just in its general usefulness and its frequency. It's really hard not to take Guardian. And Martyr is an incredibly effective ability, especially if you're using it to do things that your opponents are really just caught off guard by. I've got armor, a sword, and a shield. Of course I'm going to martyr away the suppression off the wizard.
Oh, yeah.
Suppress doesn't matter to me. It matters to the guy slinging spells. Oh, you got an entangle off on the monk, and you're expecting you can just pelt him with spell balls. Well, not if I use martyr and the monk rushes you now. I'll take 10 seconds of being stopped over 60 seconds of my ally being stopped. It's just a very easy trade. So Guardian is definitely like a favorite, especially because I have a lot of evoker wizards at my park. And an imbued shield against an evoker is just, I don't have to deal with all the ice balls anymore, which I enjoy not standing around in armor being frozen for most of the game.
Well, an imbued shield per life is insanely strong.
It is insanely strong, especially because, again, it's not a self-only enchantment. All of a sudden, your barbarian friend next to you who wants to just go in and whack all the squishies so they can blood and thunder and adrenaline their way to victory, all of a sudden he's got an imbued shield because their barbarians are enchantable now. That's an incredibly powerful thing to just toss out there per life.
Well, and it gives so much versatility to the paladin if you're in a spellball heavy meta and you want to run a shield. And even now, I don't know how much you guys are seeing it up there, but with the new 6-foot crushing breaking swords,
they are one of my favorite things to pull out. Just, I've got my shield, I've got my single stick. Oh, look, all of a sudden there's a bunch of not hardened shields in front of me. Drop the shield, drop the stick, pull the greatsword off my back, and just pop, pop.
Just start crunching those shields.
Just start crunching shields and armor.
Well, and now with the Guardian archetype being able to, if you've got somebody at your park that's just all about those great swords, you can just not respect them anymore.
No, it's just, oh, you've got a great sword. Cool. I'm going to stuff you out with my shield, and I'm going to just hit your hip continually until you either stop blocking to throw a shot or die.
How often are you actually charging the martyr ability?
It depends, because it is per life. If I have a bard, because I have so much else that's per life, I often won't have to charge at all. I'll be like, I've burned my 2 Awes, I've burned my 2 Martyrs, I've burned my Greater Res. Bard, do you have a Restoration? Yes? Cool, I'm right back up to full, I get to keep doing it. In long games where I don't necessarily have a Bard with me, I'll stop and charge it. It's only a charge 3. It's not that long to charge. I can usually find some downtime in the just flow of battle to just quickly stop, get a free hand, pass my charge, keep on going.
Yeah.
Or if I'm going in sub from using Martyr, I'll just charge it while I'm insubstantial. I can charge 3 in under 10 seconds.
Yeah. That's kind of where I landed with it, is like if I'm grabbing an in sub or a stopped effect, I'll just charge it then, and that feels like the maneuver.
It's really entertaining to be fighting, have a blinked assassin next to you that you then martyr the insub from to allow them to kill the target while you go insubstantial and the target keeps beating on you.
I had not thought
There are
about that.
there's so
Oh,
many shenanigans that you can do with martyr that just everybody because they're not expecting somebody to send themselves in sub or frozen and pull somebody who's behind them out of it just by block reach.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Somewhere here, I feel like there's a shenanigan with Circle of Protection.
There absolutely is, especially because you don't like it doesn't matter if you're already in sub. You can be
Yeah,
as the paladin in a circle of protection with your healer. You've charged all your stuff, everything's ready to go, the healer's ready to come out of it. That burns are meant to bear. Everybody drops out of it. You're still insubstantial for the next 10 seconds, but it's just an
right.
instant bomb of people no
With
longer in sub.
way less incantation for it, too.
Way less incantation, way less warning for the other team.
Mm-hmm. So that's Guardian. Now, Inquisitor, alternatively, Inquisitor gets Sacred Blades, which I want to read the latest iteration of Sacred Blades, because this one, I know
Yeah, it's
Inquisitor loses
changed.
greater res. Let's see
It's
what that.
changed a couple times since I last played it.
All right, so I've got that pulled up. Sacred Blade says bears wielded weapons are affected as per Harden. Bears wielded melee weapons and any special effects delivered by them ignore magic armor and resistances that prevent wounds. So it gets around blessing against wounds, it gets around magic armor.
Yes, it is a archetype that is incredibly
Mm-hmm.
either it will be one of the best archetypes and best enchantments on the field, or it will be absolutely redundant
Mm-hmm.
and have no effect whatsoever. If you have a summoner druid on the other side that loves spamming out bark skins and stone skins and iron skins and every other manner of armor enchantment,
Mm-hmm.
suddenly just getting to be in armor and everybody else who has magic armor and is relying on that to be more durable doesn't get to have it.
Right.
It's just an insanely useful boost that really can't be understated. If the other team doesn't have a druid and doesn't have a healer that's casting a lot of blessing against wound, you're really just better off playing a generalist. The Sacred Blades isn't really gaining you any benefit other than harden on weapons, which if you have a lot of arrows on your field, might be worth it. But harden doesn't stop spell balls.
Right.
So if you have a wizard or a druid throwing force bolts, it's not really doing anything for you unless there is a druid that is spamming armor enchantments or a healer that's spamming blessing.
It does feel like it doesn't quite do enough. Like the opportunity cost is low, but the potential benefit is also low.
I feel like it would be a lot like the opportunity cost and benefit are low. I feel like the benefit would be a lot better if it also granted armor break because then it would feel like it's doing something against mundane armor and have a reason to be there. Or even shield crushing would have a reason to be there if there's no enchantments on the other side. But especially at a Shire level where your odds of having an archer or a summoner druid in every game are very low, it's you're better playing generalist or guard.
See, I really, really wanted this to just be Phase Blade because then
If it were just Phase Blade, it would.
it'd just be so
I
good.
understand why they didn't. I fully understand why they didn't.
I
It
think they
would
were wrong.
be so much better.
Because then
It
you
would
have
feel so much
Paladin
better
on
to
Paladin
use.
action. You'd have the Paladin with the imbued shield being like, imbued shield. And you have the other one be like, I've got my 6 foot greatsword, sacred blades. And the imbued shield guys are like, what am I going to do? Now it's
What
just,
am I going to do? Now it's
they're
an
back to
even fight
normal.
again.
It's an even
Yeah,
fight again.
it actually becomes a counter. If it was just even if it was ignored magic armor, ignored blessings, and ignored enchantments that protect equipment, so imbued shield, harden, ancestral armor, it would still feel good without like, okay, now it invalidates gift of air, it stops your phoenix tears, it stops your troll's blood. It still feels good and useful, especially when you're going up against imbued shield paladins, hardened shield warriors, anyone who's picked up ancestral armor from a healer, anybody who's picked up Harden from a healer if for some reason the healer took Harden.
Yeah, well, and then I feel like they came out with the 6 foot great swords, and so now everybody is playing Guardian Paladin because the 6 foot great swords are there, and so every shield is imbued or hardened now to the point where crushing breaking just feels bad. I think it's overtuned, and I think this would really help with that meta call. Like,
I understand. Like, I definitely agree with the 6 foot great swords because previous great swords were very lackluster. They were very
mhm.
unwieldy when they had to be made heavy padded, unless you were making a like ultra light flat blade.
Well, and don't get me wrong, I think it's a good thing for the game and it's neat. I just think that the amount of imbued shield that we're seeing because of it is weird. It's shifted the like enchantment meta of the Rising Winds so hard towards imbued shield that everybody and their cousin has imbued shield. Like if you're on a kingdom field and your shield isn't imbued, it's like there's a line of people waiting to crush your shield.
it it's also part of a symptom of many spell balls being engulfing. Imbued shield negating ice ball and lightning bolt and
Mm-hmm.
entangle suddenly, like if you have a strap shield and don't have the shield drop down to a muscle memory where you can have that shield back in your hand before it even hits the ground, you can use your strap shield without just being yes, I will be ice balled every 65 seconds until the end of this game.
Yeah, I can see that, and I know why we do it that way. Just
I I feel like if we changed how engulfing worked and just had it as a direct, like, it's an ignore armor effect, a direct hit to a person in a hit location affects it, yeah, it would extremely nerf Ice Ball, but is that a bad really?
I think the only problem that I personally would have with that is that that's actually a thing that is going to push people stronger towards Battle Mage and Icy Blast. Like, I don't know how the meta is up there, but here in the Rising Winds, I never see an evoker on a kingdom field. Like if I see one, it's like, ooh, an evoker. Because Battle Mage is so strong with so little downtime to it that if you weakened spell balls further, I think we would see an even stronger shift and a more stagnant meta. Whereas with
We
engulfing, I mean, engulfing is really important on things like lightning bolt because barbarian now has that 7 second verbal immunity. And so if you've got a shield and 7 seconds of verbal immunity, the only thing you can really do is hit them with that engulfing lightning bolt and hope for the best. And if they can just block it with their shield and keep going, it I don't think that it would be the buff that you think it would be. I think it would be buffing. The debuff would hit the spell balls, yes. I don't think the spell balls themselves need a debuff. I think Ice Ball specifically needs a debuff.
Up here we see a lot of evokers, as well as a lot of battle mages, but we have everyone from Sir Simdri, who, as a Paragon wizard, can kill you with a sphere to the chest from 400 feet. That is not an
Wow.
exaggeration. To hey, I'm within 20 feet of you. I've got a bouquet in my hand of lightning bolt, fireball, force bolt, force bolt, force bolt. That will go stop you, destroy your shield. There goes your armor. There goes your arm. Now you're dead in
Mm.
about that time. That is infinitely reusable. That I can load up 2 or 3 kill combos of that and go lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt. I have 3 people stopped. Fireball, fireball, fireball. I have 3 shields gone. And then force bolt spam until you're dead because the only thing that stops a force bolt from destroying weapons is a monk. Also,
Well,
like our battle mages up here do tend to branch out from Icy Blast Shatter a lot,
oh, that's
partially
good.
because if I see if I'm playing a scout and I see, oh look, there's a wizard who I know only ever takes Icy Blast Shatter. I know exactly what my adaptive protection is going to. If I'm playing healer and I see, yes, there's the Icy Blast Shatter wizard. I think I'll just scribble down, I'm going to put a few adaptive blessings on my list. And every life, there's another 3 players who are resistant to sorcery, another 3 players who are resistant to sorcery who can just run at a wizard with impunity if they cast is Icy Blast.
I and that's gonna feel different based on what meta you're in. Out here, our scout game is fairly weak. We really only have like two or three notable scouts that are actually doing anything, and most of them are doing bow scout, which is
Yeah.
not.
I I very much push Scout up here as the if you want to learn how to do Amped Guard and figure out what class you want to play Scout first.
Mhm.
Because Scout will let you try functionally everything but spell balls. Especially now with the archetypes, like you want to try a polearm, play Scout because you'll get polearms. You want to
Mhm.
try shield, you want to try armor, you want to have verbals, you get verbals. You want enchantments for yourself, you get those too. You get the support magic, you get the bows and the throws, you get literally everything but spell balls as part of your kit.
Yeah.
Go out and try everything in your first year so you don't spend 6 months, 12 months leveling up monk only to find out that, hey, it's been a year. I'm still in a park with a warlord who's killing me every time I come out because my class very heavily relies on my own physical ability,
Right. Okay.
which that has led to a lot of scouts who are using their abilities effectively because they're learning their abilities quickly. And I Scout was my first class. It's kind of like even though I love Paladin, Scout is still just a little bit higher. So I often like you want to play Scout. Here's literally 27 pages of how to do it really good.
Well, I'll tell you what. We got to talk more about paladin stuff because this is our paladin
More
interview.
Paladin. More Paladin.
But in the new year, if you want to ping me in like December time when I'm scheduling for next year's Paragon interviews, I would love to bring you back on to talk about Scout for a second time. So
Absolutely.
you know how to find me. Okay, so let's talk about the Paladin on offense for a little bit. When you're playing Paladin, what weapons and gear, what does your loadout look like for Paladin?
Part of it is going to be field dependent. If I'm on, if I walk on a field and I see, yes, there are the local evokers, I'm gonna be bringing Guardian. I'm gonna have my imbued shield because I want to play the game and not be ice balled.
Mhm.
If I see a whole lot of archers, which certain points in my field's history, there have been upwards of 75% of the players using bows on field at any given point. That was an enjoyable experience playing arrow tag or archery tag
That's a
during
lot
my
of
amp
archery.
guard. There were on a 20-person battle game, there were 14 archers. It was a little insane.
I feel like at that point you grab the bard sash and you go
I,
for
I
some
played a lot
efficient.
of Bard with a Shield and Song of Deflection during that time.
Just holy cow, 14 bows on a field.
It's just at this point I have a sixth sense for arrows. It's like, yes, there's an archer over there somewhere about to fire at me. This is fine. Oh, there's one. I sense somebody looking at me over there. Block, shield block, off it goes. Like, this is fine.
That's
Just because I've had so many archers shooting at me.
that's nuts.
Uh, if it's not really projectile spammy on
Mhm.
field, I'll tend to go if I'm using heavier armor, I'll pick up my greatsword. If I'm in a like if it's warmer out and I'm wearing lighter armor, like just my gambeson, then I'll probably pick up flow because I know my flow game is better than my greatsword game.
Okay.
And I am just there. There's something about like the equipment in your hands that does influence how fast you're willing to move with it.
Mm.
Like if I just have daggers in my hands, I can sprint full speed. Put short swords in my hands, my sprint time is actually a little bit longer. A shield, it's significantly longer. Great swords are kind of in the middle. It's not something that like most people are going to go out and run tests on of how fast can I move with X equipment, but it does influence how fast you're able and willing to go depending on what
Mm.
equipment you have. So I will take often flow or great. If it's a field like Lichwood has a lot of recruitment initiatives, so
Mm.
if it's a field with a lot of new players, I will self nerf and go down to like, all right, I'm gonna play Paladin. I'm gonna focus like today. I'm gonna really practice my support abilities and my positioning. So I might take no armor and just a single short, and my whole job is I really need to be positioning. I need to be putting myself in the way, using my small round punch shield maybe to block arrows and defend while I'm healing and kind of filling the healer role to really work on the awareness, the team synergies, like make it a little harder on myself with the intent to continue getting better.
Okay. Yeah.
Most of the time it's just give me a sword and board and let me go to town.
Okay. What's your go-to offensive approach with Paladin?
Again, it's very very field dependent.
Right.
Usually, and this is kind of independent of what class I'm playing, it's partially like the kind of player I am. I will come off as like Moss is always super aggressive on field. It's like, no, I'm not being super aggressive because I just got to go, 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 go. It's I want to push the limits of what the other team will let me do. If I
Okay.
start moving up and I start aggressing and I'm immediately met with a whole bunch of arrows, a whole bunch of throwies, a bunch of spells, like, okay, I know I have to be more careful about how I pick my offensive. I need to use my positioning better. If I get to walk right up to their line and they don't do anything to stop me, it's like, I guess today I'm a bulldozer and you all are going to be the mound of dirt I'm pushing aside. And I'm just going to keep charging and crashing like a
Mm.
battering ram until something goes. Uh, Also, javelins. Javelins are at least up here, and probably from like watching battle game videos through like the rest of Amtgard. Javelins are criminally underused. Part of it is the difficulty in making them effective, like
See,
a physically built effectively javelin.
I've never once been wounded by a javelin, but I've had many
I
thrown at me.
I will consistently get wounds and kills with my javelins because they're made correctly and fly straight.
How did you build
The
them?
so the real trick is a javelin is kind of like a giant arrow. You
Hmm.
can stabilize it in one of two ways. You can either put fins on the back, which is
Hmm.
a technically difficult process to make stable, like get them to be stable on the javelin, but very effective at keeping the javelin flying straight. I went the route of I'm going to build this like an actual javelin, and an actual javelin is a long wooden stick with a metal end. And that metal end does something more than just be like the pointy bit that's supposed to go into somebody. It actually does add weight to the front end of the javelin. So when you
Hmm.
throw it, just the way wind resistance works, it will want to stabilize more the more front heavy it is. So I made the javelin itself as light as I could, and then I made the front end enough to be counterbalanced either like 3/4 or even like 80% towards the front. And then proper throwing form helps a lot. Giving it just a little bit of spin, kind of like you're throwing a football on the release, helps stabilize it further. And just, oh, look, there's somebody, even if they're 20 feet away, even if they're not, especially if they're not focused on me, it gives me a much wider area of effectiveness where I might not be able to catch the 22-year-old assassin who plays on the soccer team. I'm not that fast anymore, but my javelin's fast enough.
Okay.
I might be too far back to actually catch them myself, but the javelin I've been holding in my shield hand for the last 5 minutes, that's fast enough to reach them. That's fast enough even to just leg them, and then I can catch them.
Then they're standing still.
Then they're standing still.
How did you weight the front end of the javelin?
So my javelins are made in our dollar stores up here in our Dollaramas. You can get they're about 4-ish feet long orange driveway markers for
Okay.
really dirt cheap.
Yeah.
So I took one of those. I cut off the pointy bit. I took the end I wanted for the point, and I wrapped it in duct tape. I did.
Mm.
I This is the one time I will ever suggest using duct tape in a weapon build. I wrapped it in duct tape until it was the big enough to fit snugly inside of a pool noodle. Then I put a little bit of padding on the outside of the pool noodle to bring it up, and I built my stab tip, and then I built a little more onto the stab tip because these things are it's the core being thrown. I want these to be safe. So it was my little pool noodle,
Mm.
my puzzle mat, another dense foam that I'll typically use for my swords, and then that's my inch mandatory, and then another inch of a fairly dense open cell foam. And even though like they hit with some force, the layers of progressively denser foam take out any sting or actual like risk of injury. And it's
Okay.
more like being pushed with a boxing glove than being hit with a boxing glove.
Okay. That makes sense. I might have to try to build one of these javelins that you might have sold me on an actual playable javelin build.
They are, yeah, incredibly playable. I occasionally will run like, here's how you make a javelin to like our new warriors or barbarians, paladins, anti-paladins, even scouts now get javelins. So like there's
Yeah,
enough
there's a
classes
ton of
that can
people that
use
get
them,
taught.
especially even if they're not like the best build, even if you like don't plan on using them, you should have them if your class has them. And
Mhm.
then you go to your little team, you go to your team at the start of the game and go, hey, all my warriors, my barbarians, my anti-paladins, my paladins, my hunter scout, I have 3 javelins here. If you pick them up on field, here's how you throw them. If they're out there and they're there and you can get a kill, get that kill. Spear somebody from 20 feet away because it's just another tool that now everyone has access to.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Let's see here. So what is Paladin weak to?
Paladin is weak to what really all martial classes are weak to. They are less weak to it than warrior. Magic will give them a hard time.
Mhm.
Specifically, wizards and druids have access to frozen and will apply it liberally. So that is always a downfall of any martial class. In terms of like, it's not just magic, they are weak to an extent to barbarians and anti-paladins.
Okay.
In the paladin barbarian matchup, if it's just we're going straight class, we're not adding in any like enchantments or somebody, you've got a teammate helping you out in this fight. If it's just a 1v1, barbarian has 3 points and armor breaking. Paladin has 4 points, but no armor breaking at all. Their only crowd control spell doesn't work on the barbarian, and the barbarian has a good likelihood of having blood and thunder up. So really what you have is a class with potentially a blessing against wounds and 3 points of armor against a class that has effectively 2 points of armor. So
Right.
equal, like both at their pinnacle of equipment using the same kind of weapons, same similar skill level. The barbarian does have an advantage. Similarly to anti-paladin, anti-paladin has equivalently 4 points of armor to paladin, but they also have access to flameblade. And all
Right.
of a sudden now the anti-paladin having breaking crushing on all their attacks, if the paladin does not have an imbued shield, if they are not playing guardian, they will likely on a field on a match of equal skill and equal equipment lose that battle of attrition. It's 4 points to get through plus probably a shield against 2 points to get through plus a shield that will take 3 hits to crush, and now it's an anti-paladin fighting armor breaking single stick, armor breaking in a board against a single stick.
Yeah.
Any class with armor breaking and a roughly equivalent amount of armor does have an advantage against paladin. Similarly, like scout given armor breaking, same thing. Assassin given armor breaking, same thing. Even a bard, if they have their 2 points of armor and their shield, and they start singing Song of Battle, they have now completely evened the melee playing field with a paladin. It is 4 points that they will destroy in two against their 2 points. So
Okay.
paladin is weak or less effective against opponents with armor breaking, especially like I always have to when I'm checking like what is this weak to, there's always the caveat of not everybody has all of the equipment that their
Mhm.
class would let them use. I've been in this game 13, 14 years. I have my shield, my armor, all the way up to full 6 points if I want to break it all out to play warrior again. I have all my weapons. I have my javelins, my spell balls. I have everything I need for battle gaming.
Yeah.
Somebody who's only been in the game a year, they could have anything from I went all in. I got myself a set of chainmail. I got my medium
Mhm.
board and my Omni. I'm all in on battle gaming and Amp Guard. To I enjoy this. I come out every 2, 3 weeks. I've got my 2 short swords and my tunic and my belt.
Mhm.
And the level of equipment investment, both from like I'm invested in playing Amp Guard and I actually have the funds, the time, the resources to
For
invest
sure.
in this equipment. I was very lucky going through my early years of Amtgard of being fresh out of high school, having a
Hmm.
job, not having really bills to pay, my except for like my gas and car insurance, still living with my parents and not paying rent. Like I had all the disposable income, and that very much helped like get the kit to start playing at a high level. And I very much realized that I was kind of fortunate in that regard. There are many people who've been playing for 2 to 4 years who they have their basic garb and their couple weapons and they play assassin, and that's about it. They don't really have the full kit that they could have to make it a like we are we gauge the classes at their peak. We don't gauge the classes based on who's playing them.
That's fair. And I think the thing is like in any local meta, any class can be broken if they're the only one with all their equipment. And
Oh, absolutely. Like if I walk onto a field of all players who've been playing for under 6 months, a couple of them might have like a pauldron and some bracers from their Ren Fair costume from the day
mhm.
they saw the Amtgard booth.
Yeah,
But if
exactly.
I throw on my full 4 points of four points of armor everywhere, full coverage with my Gambison,
Hmm.
pick up my board and my stick, that's not fun for me. I'm just stomping people with no armor. That's not fun for them getting steamrolled all the time. So the local meta, and also especially if you intend to play at a very high level, an incredibly important thing is know when to dial it back. It's not especially with new players. This is a game that survives based on recruitment and retention. We need the new players. We need to not make them feel like they're getting curb stomped every time they come out because they haven't been constantly like in the backyard on the Pell doing the full get good
Yeah.
grind set from day one.
Well, and part of that is also going to come down to we are the like top 10% of tryhards because we're sitting here on a Saturday night recording a video where we talk about the optimal way to play Paladin. And we're catering to a community of tryhards, and it's important to remember
Absolutely.
that as the tryhardiest tryhard at my local park, I need to try less hard at my local park than I do at Kingdom.
At Kingdom, all the stops come out. That's when you
Yeah.
pull out all the shiny, fun toys that just aren't suitable for a local park, especially like if your local park's a shire and you have 10 people out on a
Hmm.
given field day, unless everybody's going all in and wearing all their kit, you don't need more than a couple points of armor. It's just really like, and it will also teach you to be better if you intentionally nerf yourself during local field days. I won't go out with armor. I will fight. I will still be that front line without armor. I know technically that is not an optimal way to play. I have the armor sitting in my wagon with all the other equipment, but it's also teaching me to be better because it's teaching me not to rely on the armor to do my job.
Well, it also
I'm
gives an opportunity for that, say, that middle career player to get armor specifically to buy themselves the time to defeat you. And then now you have a baby armor fighter that's coming out there and they're clanking up to you and you're like, "Oh man, I'm not wearing my armor today." And then they get a chance to have the exchange last more than a quarter of a second so that they can
Yeah.
get better. And I think that that's a good thing. And so there's a life cycle to it.
Also, as like I realize that as somebody who's been in this game for 14 years, I'm one of a very small percentage of players that plays beyond 2 to 4 years. And as a knight, I'm a even smaller percentage of that. I know that if I look over there, I've got my full Gambison, I've got a set of plate on an armor stand, my
Mhm.
chainmail sitting oiled up in a box, all my bits of leather armor from Scout. Right now, I could armor 5 people. I know that I'm very fortunate in that regard. Have armor for 5 people. I will. There are days when, especially when it's getting into the fall now, where it's getting cooler and wearing armor you're not acclimated to is less punishing for heat stroke. I will bring out a bunch of armor I fully don't intend on using and be like, "You're roughly my size. Would you like to wear armor today? Would you like to try armor today? You're playing warrior and have no armor. Do you want some chainmail to throw on?" I will armor my park as much as I can because it lets them tryout armor without the investment.
Mhm.
It gets me more of a challenge, and it gives them the advantage and the durability to take on myself, Sir Simdri, a bunch of our other high tier fighters who are local, and have a good chance at winning just because
Yeah, for
they
sure.
can make mistakes without being immediately slaughtered for it.
Yeah, that leads us into another good question over here. How are you maximizing your defensive abilities on the kingdom field?
On the kingdom field, the best way to maximize your defensive abilities as a paladin is obviously armor. It's also positioning yourself in a way that allows your team to take advantage of the fact that even though you're not as heavily armored as a warrior, you are still a heavy armor boy sitting on the front line that they can use as cover from arrows. If you're a guardian, cover from spell balls.
Mhm.
That can, especially if I see a caster that I know doesn't have command immunity, start casting on one of my teammates, awe is very fast.
Mm.
And the difference between my teammate dying to an icy blast shatter and just being frozen to then get released can literally be me realizing that the icy blast is going off and starting awe on that wizard or on that druid to get them back and buy my team time to do stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense.
There's also like learning how to fight in armor to maximize the points that you have is
Hmm.
very, very important. I have walked away from engagements that I probably should have been just overwhelmed and killed because of the number of shots coming my way. Because I know, okay, I have my shield. I can tuck in, I can cover this side of my body. I can use my arm to eat 2 or 3 points of armor off my arm and still leave it protected. I can then give up my torso and let shots land there if I need to, and I can spread to a degree the damage
Mm.
I'm taking over multiple parts of my body and really get extra mileage out of the armor. The
That's really
downside
cool.
is not so much for the paladin, it's for the people in the logistics train, especially the druids and the bards, uh, who have to cast mend on me like 50 or 60 times a game.
Oh, that would get them. Is there an enchantment that Paladin is looking for?
There are a couple of enchantments that I, as a paladin, am looking for.
Okay.
The really big ones, the protection from magic that paladins get is magical. I'm generally not using it on myself.
Okay.
It is more efficient to give protection from magic to somebody without immunities because they are gaining more from it.
Okay.
So I very much enjoy like getting enchantments that technically have less value than others. I'm a very big fan of getting bear strength. Bear
Okay.
strength is honestly, if you're a wizard, if you
Mhm.
see a line of players come up and somebody goes Stone Skin attuned Flame Blade, Golem attuned Imbue Weapon, bear strength, who are you going to prioritize for dispelling? It's
I'll
not
get
me.
around to you eventually,
you you'll
maybe.
get around to me eventually, but bear strength now lets me fight anti-paladins on much better footing, fight
Hmm.
barbarians on much better footing, shield using scouts, any caster that has a shield, any caster with gift of air. Suddenly
Right.
they're like, I'm safe. The paladin's not going to be able to kill me. They're not a barbarian with armor breaking. Shield crushing. Oh, I guess I'm dead.
Yeah.
It gives me so much for being such a like seemingly unimportant enchantment
Gives you a lot of
that
utility.
it gives me just so much utility for something that isn't going to be hard targeted for dispels. Other ones I really like have a where's my chart? I literally have a chart of
That's fantastic.
enchantments I like when I'm recommending stuff for druids to take on their list. Where is it?
That's the new flex. You show up and like, hey Druid, here's my list of enchantments. Did you make this work?
Here's the stuff I want, especially on Kingdom Fields. This is the stuff that I'm looking for. Do you have it on your list?
Okay.
Uh, I mean, I'll never say no to getting a poison from a druid. What if I'm not wearing all of my armor, imbue armor's good. Regeneration is also really nice just to have, especially if there's a lot of projectiles, because then if I run out of armor on my legs, I can just swift heal myself back.
Okay.
Uh, Adaptive protection is actually one I wish healers took more of.
Mm,
Just being able to slap on an extra immunity that isn't a big dispel priority, but suddenly takes me immune to half the spells in the game. Very, very nice. Go if I intend on using my Promag on myself. I would love to get Golem attuned
okay.
because then I don't have to, like, I'm not worried about losing it if I die because I overextended a little bit.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. As a paladin player, what are some of the classes that you most like to have on your team?
I always like having scouts, just in general, because of their utility. Because scouts and monks, I very much like having as a battle buddy if I'm using my promag on myself. The fact that their heals are extraordinary and are the only way to heal me through promag,
Okay.
they're basically required if I'm going to be any sort of offensive. Because other I extend, I go out after a while, attrition will win. I will start running out of armor. I will
Right.
eventually lose a limb.
Yeah.
Those heals at that point are the difference between me continuing to terrorize the other team with a pro mag or me just sitting duck and then the pole arms come and start poking away till I die.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy having wizards, especially evokers, simply because evokers' cast speed is so much faster than a battle mage.
Mm,
I can really push up fast with an invoker tucked in behind my shield, ready to go, and we push up on an enemy. They pop out, lightning bolt, that enemy stop. I can start moving to flank, leave the wizard now in a fairly safe position because they can't be run down to follow
right.
up with other spell balls while I really occupy that person's attention, making it much easier for them to land. They can employ crowd control so much faster than any other class because
Mm,
evoke elemental barrage is one
yeah.
hell of a drug. All of a sudden, what's a 8v2 just because of the number of spell balls they can spam out can be a 2v2 and way more winnable. And then we just pick off the stragglers one by one.
Yeah. That makes sense. What are
Bards are
some of
also
the
fun.
everybody loves a bard.
Everyone loves a bard. Just yeah, let's have my greater res back. Let's have all my abilities back.
I feel like if you greater res the bard should give it back. Just
It's a pretty like it's an unspoken agreement between me and all the bards that if I heal or greater res them, they just slap a confidence or an empower on me, so we can do it again.
seems fair to me. What are some classes that give you more trouble on the enemy team?
The thing about paladin is any problem because of their equipment, because of their immunity, any problem really can be overcome with enough just brute force and stick skill. Even a wizard, I have a javelin. If that wizard starts casting and I throw that javelin and they move their feet to dodge because they
Right.
forgot to ambulant it, or one of my favorite tricks, the wizard throws their hand out and points really long, and I throw the javelin and hit their casting hand, and then they finish the spell and I stab them because they didn't have a free hand.
That's how you get them. Okay.
Wizards are constantly like if I see it on the other team, it's like either I'm really going to have a annoying day dealing with you, or I really don't care that you're on the other team. And it's all comes down to the skill of the wizard.
Mm,
There are some wizards who are level 6, and I know that their reactions, their target priority isn't going to have me right at the start. It's like you could be on the other team for every game. I'm gonna kill you every game because you're going to forget that even in armor, am still fairly quick and I'm going to close the distance before you realize I'm closing the distance. There are wizards who are like, I have a radar and it pings every time there's a paragon or a
yeah,
warlord within 20 feet of
yeah.
me and I'm immediately casting spells on them.
Right.
So it a lot of it is if that wizard is at the like medium level or higher, they can be very frustrating to deal with if they have the little thought ticking in the back of their head that I need to be ready for somebody to push me.
Hmm.
If they don't have that thought, if they think they're just going to be safe in the mid to back line, I'm sorry, they're going to die to a javelin. They're not going to be paying attention. I'm going to catch them off guard eventually.
Yeah. Okay. What are some common misconceptions about Paladin?
The biggest one I see is that Paladin needs to be defensive. That was a bit of a hurdle I had to overcome with my local kingdom, like my kingdom, because everybody had the idea of like Paladin needs to be protecting their team. All their abilities are about protecting. Like, yes, but also no. All of their abilities are about protect in a roundabout way. All of their abilities really are about keeping things moving forward. If a paladin is staying stationary, they're not going to be moving to where the res needs to be, to where the heal needs to be. They're not going to be taking advantage of awe. They're not going to be leveraging the extend immunities or the pro mag that they're giving their team effectively.
Okay.
They should be able to create an area of safety for their team, but that area of safety should be constantly moving forward towards the objective.
Okay. I like that. All right. How does your gear, like the equipment you're bringing to the battlefield, does that change on a kingdom field versus a park field? Are you taking it easy at park? Are you bringing special stuff out? What's that look like for you?
On a kingdom field, I'm more likely, depending on the event. There are some events where I enjoy going outside of my comfort zone to stretch my ability. But typically on a kingdom field, I'm going to go back to what is more comfortable and utilitarian. A sword and shield is a very comfortable fighting style for me. It's not my best fighting style, but it's one that I'm very comfortable in a battle game because the shield provides a lot of general safety just as a passive defense in
Okay.
addition to being an active defense once I get into an engagement. If I'm playing a class that can use a shield, I'm probably using a shield on a kingdom field. On a local field, I'm more likely to bring out some of the weird and wonderful weapons in my armory. Uh,
Okay.
I have one, it's a pole hammer that was made for me that is absurdly light. 6 foot high pole hammer that weighs less than some of my short swords.
Dang. Okay.
So it's really cool. It's not particularly effective because it's
Mm,
just not long. It's doesn't have any of the advantages you need like a great sword has when you're fighting one on one, and it's not really long enough to effectively fight with two-handed in a line. But
okay.
it's just fun to use. It's really fun to use. Or the fish. I have a long sword that is the shape of a large tuna. That is dubbed the fish of shame. You do not die to being stabbed. You die of the shame of being hit by a fish.
Oh, okay. I've got a deep cut reference for you. Have you seen the VeggieTales Jonah movie?
Absolutely have seen the VeggieTales Jonah movie.
You're slapping people with fish. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That you brought it to mind. I had to bring it up. Okay. I've got a couple of Paragon questions for you now. So, in Nine Blades, do you guys have a Paragon circle, or how does getting your Paragon work?
So in the Nine Blades, we have our Circle Paragons. We act as an advisory board to the monarch. So we will kind of generally be keeping an eye out for candidates who we think are on the path to Paragon. We have a whole bunch of documents that are like kind of tracking things and tracking people's notes and comments. And we will advise whether or not the monarch chooses to act on advice or not. That is up to the individual monarch. We don't control that. We are an advisory board. We will advise whether or not somebody is ready for Paragon X. Um,
Okay.
so usually we're looking for certain things in the Paragons. It varies person to person, and like some people have standards that are over the mood for what a Paragon should be. Some people have standards that I would consider to be a little low. I understand my standards are probably a little high or a little higher than what other people would consider, you know, average for a Paragon, which is why there's a board of us kind of advising.
Okay.
Uh,
What is something
but
that
we
a player
advise
can do to? What is something a player can really do to stand out to the Paragon board there?
make our lives hell. If you make us frustrated whenever you're on field, you're probably doing something right. Assuming that we're frustrated by the fact you keep killing us or ice balling us or just generally making it difficult for us to do our thing, and not frustrated because you're not using spells correctly or you're
Mm.
sloughing or something. Like if we're frustrated because you're making our job hard to do when we're battle gaming, that's probably a good thing. Stuff I personally recommend. I like to see people taking the lead for their class. I like to see people pushing the boundaries of what their class can do. If I'm looking at somebody, I will usually be kind of advising more toward I prefer to advise more towards the martial classes. I have a very good understanding of casters, but I'll leave that for people who have paragons and casters. I'm looking for people who can use their abilities either in new and interesting ways
Mm.
or use them to have strategies that otherwise wouldn't be able to be done without those abilities. I
Okay.
also like to see people, especially like especially martial classes, archer being the exception. Archer is just a caster in a hood and cowl pretending to be a martial. Uh, you need to have a certain level of fighting skill. Your class is a martial. Your primary ability for every martial class is going to be apply sword repeatedly. You should be at a certain level of doing that. That level is like you cannot use orders of the warrior to balance that out. When I got my Paragon Scout, I only had three orders of the warrior because I tournamented two, three times
Mm.
and then didn't do tournaments again for 6 years. So Orders of the Warrior are not a good benchmark for having sufficient stick skill for a martial. Sufficient stick skill should be if I go into an engagement, am I trading equal or better than I'm receiving? If I
Mm.
go in with my 4 points of armor, when I kill another player, if I have to take 2 wounds, am I taking 2 points of armor or less? Am I making an even trade? If
Right.
I am going up against two players who don't have armor, am I losing 4 points of armor or less? Is it an even or better trade? That is true for kingdom fields. On a local field, you can have everything from my local field has 3 warlords, so I'm just dying all the time. To we have one person in our entire park who's got 4 orders of the warrior, and it's me. Everybody else doesn't tournament.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
local field may vary. Make sure that you're trading equal or better whenever you get into an engagement. Better is ideal. You're a paragon, you should be a little bit above the average. But like if you go in as a warrior against an assassin and you lose 8 points of armor to take their arm and then they shadow step or blink away, you didn't win that engagement. You are losing that fight in the long run because you took so many more hits than you delivered.
Right. Okay.
Other than that, like know the ability, like really know not just your class's abilities, but the abilities of classes that work well with yours. That is like I had to do it more for Scout than Paladin, but I played a lot of classes that weren't Scout,
Mm.
weren't Paladin, but had similar abilities to. So I played a lot of Healer because Healer has a lot of support abilities, and I use that to hone my ability to support players and carry that into playing Scout and Paladin. I played a lot of Bard because Bard has similar verbals to get a feel for when and how I should be using those as a Paladin. I played Warrior because I
Mhm.
needed to know how to fight and be effective in armor, and then I could carry that into Paladin. That's not a requirement, but you should know that, hey, I'm fighting with a warrior. What abilities does the warrior have? Warrior has
Mm.
scavenge. I'm not going to get this kill. I'm going to open up for the warrior to get the kill and scavenge off. I'm opening it up for a barbarian to get the kill and get their adrenaline or blood and thunder off so that they are getting benefit from this engagement, not just me inflating my kill count to 1,000,000, because that really killing doesn't tell you whether or not you're winning the game unless you are playing a shatter game.
Right.
I can be running around on the outside of a battle killing everybody I meet, but if the objective was to hold a point in the middle and the other team's been holding the point for the last 7 minutes, I'm not winning the game. I'm ignoring the objective just to say I killed 30 people that battle game.
Yeah, makes sense. I have a couple of more fun questions for you, and then we'll move to wrap up. Okay.
All right.
So first, is there a fictional character that best represents how you play Paladin?
There are a couple that really influenced how I play Paladin.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, very much, I try to make it feel like Aragorn, specifically
Mm,
Aragorn as the about to be crowned King of Gondor, giving the speech before the Black Gates.
okay, iconic
A,
scene there.
a paladin really should, like, beyond their abilities, beyond the armor that they wear, they should be able to inspire their team to move forward despite impossible odds. That is
Mm.
like part of the iconic thing of being a paladin. You are supposed to be a beacon of light, which is kind of funny because my character is a tiny little evil gnome lich. Somebody has to be the villain.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, what's the single coolest thing you've done as a Paladin?
I think the single coolest thing I've done, it was at the same Kingdom event that I got my Paragon hood at. It is a large battle game. I have a combat bard, 2 points of armor, flow
Mhm.
on my right, another one with a sword and board on my left, and we are
Okay.
pushing up towards a very heavily defended castle.
Mhm.
Like 6 foot high walls, a 20-ish foot high archer tower
Oh wow.
with either I have to fight all the way around to the back gate, or I have to fight through a paladin in full armor with a tower shield plus their support in the big front gate. And it's a narrow trail. Like, I'm walking kind of in the lead. The other two are behind me side by side, but that's about as much space as we have. And we push up, and say 8 or 9 players from the cast are like, oh, there's only 3. Let's go kill them, to make sure that they're not just hanging around for reinforcement.
Mhm.
They come out, we start fighting. My 2 bards go down.
Oh no.
Like, this isn't great. And I look around and I realize that the only players who had armor who came out to fight us, we killed in the initial exchange.
Oh. Oh no.
I'm thinking, wait, I'm just doing a little mental math in my head. I still have almost full armor. I've only taken a couple hits, one off my arm, one off my leg. There's 6 of them left without armor, and I go full tilt. There is
Yeah.
like no break, all gas. I kill all 6 of them. The rest of the team starts coming out like, you know what? I don't think I can fight all of you. And I just walk off. Back into the forest, walk away. They don't bother chasing. I know the healer's waiting in the base to walk out and res their whole team. And
Yeah.
ultimately, it didn't win me anything, but it felt really good.
You still killed 6 dudes. That's nothing to shake a stick at. That's awesome. Okay. If you could invent a new ability for Paladin, like ignoring balance, you're going for pure flavor. What are you creating for Paladin?
There are 2 abilities I would want to make. I know one is just so dang hard to do fun in Amtgard, so I wouldn't pick Smite.
Okay.
I want to make a ability that is similar to Song of Power, but flavored for Paladin. Where Song of Power is
Mm.
a very much a bard thing. It helps everybody charge back up to full. I want an ability where I can create a 20-foot aura of anybody who's in it on my team. As long as I'm just standing and chanting with empty hands, they all have regen. I can just stand, and even if it's 1 per refresh, I can be a massive aura of everybody's healing.
Cool. Okay. I like this idea. This is cool. I don't. That just everybody gets heal unlimited while they're in the aura.
Everybody just gets heal unlimited while they're in the aura, and I can just stand there chanting and be
Yes.
the ultimate nuisance for the archers who are just going to be like, I've shot that guy in the leg 7 times and he keeps healing himself.
I also feel like Smite exists in the game as it stands. We have Brutal Strike.
We have Brutal Strike, which is why I feel like
It.
Paladin is very much the, like, I am the good guy. I am the redemption, D&D redemption paladin. I am healing and
Mm,
restoring with my lay on hands and my spells. An anti-paladin is just, those aren't spell slots, those are smite slots.
yes. And so Smite, I feel like it's the tiniest rebrand on Brutal Strike, and it moves directly over to mainstay Paladin. Like,
It would be very nice to have with Inquisitor. It would make Inquisitor
yeah.
feel a lot I know they tried to do Smite with the initial Inquisitor, whatever it was called,
They just made
Justicar
it
or
worse
whatever.
fight after death, though, was the
It
problem
it
with
was
it.
very much worse fight after death. I tried Justicar for a Kingdom Battle game, and it's like I can try to use Smite, but if I have to actually defend myself from literally anybody who is not my target, I've wasted Smite. So what's the point? It was very much designed to be the I am really really good at 1v1ing people, and completely lost the plot for any time there's a single other person involved in an engagement.
Yeah. You could see, like, if I was going to rebuild the Inquisitor archetype, you could, like, make it the Spanish Inquisition almost. Like, it's
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
exactly. But make it, like, because Paladin very much has a vibe going. And I think the vibe that Inquisitor should have is God said that we have to fight and you can't leave. So I would have them lose awe and gain like hold person and planar grounding and like okay, your magic armor means nothing. You can't become insubstantial. You're not allowed to leave. Also give them insult. Give them those three things.
I I would love to have Inquisitor, like you lose your greater as you lose your awe, you lose your extend immunities, you get sacred blades, you get insult, and you get planar grounding, so nobody gets to leave.
Nobody
It's
gets
like
to leave.
you're fighting me. You're
You
fighting
were
me.
staying
Assassin,
here.
don't even think about it. I am going to get you.
Right. And then you become the like pursuit predator of the battlefield and you're just following someone around and they're like, "Oh no. Oh no." And
Eventually, the paladin will get you.
I think that'd be such a cool archetype to have. But okay. Well, let's get you out of here. I've held you off for almost 2 hours now. What is your next Amp Guard goal? What are you working on now?
So I've got a couple goals. I recently got Knight of Battle and Paragon Paladin. Within like I was knighted, and then 2 weeks later at the Kingdom event, it was the Paragon. Was like, there's the two major goals I had back to back. So I guess that's cool. The next one, I am kind of going a double of. I'd like to get another Paragon hood. I would like to eventually like the pipe dream goal is one day have them all, but I don't think I have enough years in me to get the other 10.
Hmm.
I am going to go for two more. The next one is going to be Monk because again, it fits a very similar vibe that I like of being the support marshal, and I'm also working towards getting my stick skill polished a little more so I can get some more progress up the warrior path. Get a few more
Okay.
orders of the warrior in.
Yeah. Okay. If someone from your kingdom is watching this video right now and they want to be your apprentice or talk about paladin things, how should they try to get a hold of you?
Two great ways to get a hold of me. One, come to Litchwood Grove. That is where I am almost every Sunday. Occasionally, I will be in Bell Hollow, which is the closest other park. If they want to reach out online, if they go to the Nine Blades Discord, which is one of our main communication tools, I don't use Facebook hardly anymore. They can find me as General Moss, the Trailblazer, and just shoot me a DM, come talk to me. Most Kingdom events I try to be at, so they can find me there. Look for a nerd in green with red hair.
Awesome. Do you have any final advice for all the paladins before we leave?
Final advice for paladins: make sure that you play like a paladin. When you think of paladin, you should think of somebody who is honorable on the battlefield, who doesn't back down. If you're a paladin, you should be going out there. If somebody wants to 1v1 you, do it. Honorably duel that person. If somebody like is harassing your team, if there's an anti-paladin out there smiting, I'm sorry, it is your sacred duty to go fight your opposite until one of you is so frustrated with dying all the time that you just give up. And it better not be the paladin.
Awesome. Well, huge thank you to Sir Moss for coming on the show tonight and talking to us about Paladin. It's been a delight talking to you. I hope to get more Nine Blades folks on the channel here soon. To you, our viewers, if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe for more excellent battle gaming content. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments section. I always love seeing the comments and the interactions that are happening there. And I'll see you in the next video.